Think about it now. There's places you go that they don't even accept cash. Somewhere my grandfather is rolling over in his grave.
Right.
That like someone is literally telling you like, no, your cash is no good here, but do you have a credit card?
Welcome back to Industry Only at the Cheese Store. I'm here with Dom. Dom's very excited today because he's going to get to go eat Italian food.
I'm very excited.
Tell us about the pop-up that you're going to, Dom, because there's really been a lot of high-profile pop-ups happening, but this one is super exciting. Some of the best pasta makers in Rome, which means some of the best pasta makers in the world, right?
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to Mozza tonight. They're doing the Roscioli pop-up, and I'm really excited. I actually did this once before when they came. It was like a year ago or 2 years ago, and it was really exceptional. I was very impressed by it. And when Nancy was like, hey, you guys want to come and join us? I was like, who says no to that? So I'm going and bringing Jay, we're bringing a couple of chefs with us, and we're going to go kind of have another unique experience. But this is actually, I don't know what the difference is going to be, because the last one was Roscioli from Italy, from Rome, right? This is Roscioli from New York.
Yeah, well, explain what Roscioli is, because everybody from Nancy to Burt Bachman, right? When you go to Rome, they're like, you just have to go there. You could eat almost all of your meals there, and they have the carbonara, they have the matriciana. It's a multi-generational family establishment. But tell me what it really is. I want to hear this from an Italian person.
It's like the Mecca of Roman food. So when you go to the main spot, it's pretty interesting because it's first of all, it's a beautiful store. They have a ton of what you would think an Italian specialty food store would have in the middle of Rome.
The vibe is a little bit like this. This is a compliment to both of you.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really rustic, right? Like they may, like we said before, like they may make a dish with anchovies, and they may pull the anchovies off of the shelf, because the chef needs it in the back. So it's like, it's very rustic in that sense, but it's also really simple. As you said, it's a very old family. Actually, I think when I was there in February, we tried to go in February, but I think the dad actually had passed away. Which is why we didn't go. But I will say that it is probably one of the best meals you'll get in Rome. And I know like everybody wants to go there and everyone's trying to get in, especially like all the American tourists. Like they're lined up on the outside the corner. But it is probably one of the hardest reservations to get. But it's really special. It's like I said, it's quintessential Roman cuisine. But it's just the vibe is great, and everyone there is like having a good time. It's not stuffy. It's just really casual. And I think that's one of the things I love about it. It's casual and simple.
Yeah. So this is an exciting time in LA because you're talking about going to Roscioli. It's Monday. Saturday and Sunday was the Pizza City Fest, and there are all these, amazing pizza places from LA, but there are also some visitors, including Truly Pizza from Dana Point, which is, John Arena and Michael. Michael, obviously, we knew from 00. They're actually doing a pop-up in a few weeks, Memorial Day weekend, at Casa del Mar in Santa Monica. Maybe you'll actually get over there because it's on the west side.
We will. We're doing a lot of the cheeses for it.
They're doing Big Noise Beer. They're doing Cheese Store Beverly Hills product. This isn't an ad. This is just me making the point that, like, Pizza Fest, this thing, Roscioli, it's great that there are cool pop-ups. I wish there were more pop-ups that were not Italian, and more truly.
So can I ask you though? I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, but so I went to Pizza Fest. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
This year we had a conflict, which is why we didn't. But Carol put it on, right?
Yeah, Carol Chin's the best.
Yep, she put
Carol
it on.
Chin.
I heard it was amazing.
It's Steve Dolinsky's festival, and Carol does the production, like she does for so many things. And it was great. I took my daughter there. Zach Allen was there, with the El Antico Vinayo sandwiches, so it wasn't just pizza, but she got to eat Secret Pizza, Petramale.
I love those guys, by the way. I love those guys. I actually went.
Oh, to Petramale?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, yeah. You went to Venice on a Friday.
I went to Venice on a Friday, and I loved it.
So, yeah, real New York style pizza. I mean, I like that truck that they have that has the Yankees on it. Yeah. It's like real New York.
He's totally Giant fan, Yankee fan. He's all dialed in.
Yeah, so it's rad. What they're doing, and like
I'm assuming it was like because like last time we were there, it was a mob scene.
Yeah, no, it was.
And
totally,
they do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Or just Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday. So it was packed, and we had a really good time. I was part of a little panel there yesterday with Lawrence from Prince Street Pizza, Chris from Ozzy's a Pizza, David Turkel, the influencer.
He's a character. I love him.
So that was a good time. So I was joking about how there are only Italian pop-ups because this weekend was crazy. So Enrique Olvera, you probably know him from Chef's Table, in that episode just about how he's this godfather of Mexican cuisine and moved it forward. What he's done in Mexico City, just in terms of the way that they make tortillas, and obviously at his fine dining restaurant Pujol, and just you've probably heard about the mole that he made. Think of it like I'm going to explain it to you like the type of person you are. Think of it like a sourdough starter, right?
Oh wow, now I can totally relate. Go ahead.
And you just keep going. It is now 3,678 days, or it was on Saturday when I ate it, and they just keep adding spices and fruit to the mother mole. So as you can imagine,
Is that a thing? Is he the only one doing that? Like, is that a thing? I never even really heard of that.
You can keep mole going,
and you just keep it going like you would a starter for bread.
Yeah, I mean that's why I explained it to you that way.
Wow.
So parts of that mole are very young, and then but the actual base of it, 10 plus years old. And the thing about mole, right? That there's the spices and the fruit and the hints of chocolate, cinnamon, all that stuff. It just becomes intensified. And the thing that's crazy about it, you're basically looking at it, and it's 2 colors, right? And one of the colors is black, but it's like you eat it and you're like, okay, I've had mole before, but it's like I'm seeing new colors, right? So that was really...
Is that like a massive flavor explosion as you're eating it? I mean, I love mole, by the way.
Yeah.
It sounds
You love
insane.
mole?
I do.
Where have you eaten mole?
I went to Brescia Lopez's place, bro. Come on.
Dude, you went to Guelaguetza after we had her on?
I did. And you know what? I went because I was literally... Jay and I had done a tasting with the chef, and I'm like, bro, we got to go check this out. So we went, and it was unbelievable. We had such a great time. And we went not that they ever have off nights, but we got in with no problem. We sat down, the service was great. The food was great. We got the pizza that I call pizza. It was really fun. But I thought that mole was delicious.
You got the Tayuda.
Yeah, it was delicious. It was delicious.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I mean, it was over the top, and it was really really flavorful. And of course, the margaritas always help.
Yeah.
It was a party.
So the crazy thing is, Enrique does this residency. Obviously, he's the most famous chef in Mexico City. There are Mexico City is this great food town. So there's this chef. He's opening up a restaurant. He is actually from LA. His name is Francisco Guzman. He's opening a restaurant called Luisa. And he's one of those Mexican chefs who then learned all the other stuff. So he cooked he worked for Dominique Crenn in San Francisco. Then he worked at Californios, which was a Mexican restaurant that became Michelin starred. So he has that kind of pedigree. So he did a pop-up at Yuchi, which is Tyson Cole's, it was born in Austin, modern sushi restaurant. And the reason this pop-up happened is just Joel Hammond, who's the chef over there at Yuchi, was somebody who was essentially studying in San Francisco. And Francisco was the chef that he met. Isn't that cool?
Oh, wow.
That it really ties back
I didn't know the story behind it.
Yeah, so that part was cool. And then the thing about the food that he was serving, there's a spring aguachile with cuttlefish and just, and it was just bright green. And it tasted Mexican, but it belonged on an omakase, right? He did this dish also green. I think it was a ramp mole. There's also green curry. And it was this luxurious box crab dish, but it was like Mexican chawan mushi, right? You know what chawan mushi is, right?
I don't, but it sounds delicious.
Okay, it was a Mexican. So there's a custard in Japanese cuisine, and this was sort of a Mexican version of it. So I'm really excited about this restaurant, Louisa. I mean, I'm excited that there's going to be more and more pop-ups like this in LA. And I mean, I think a little bit later, you and I can talk about what some of our dream pop-ups may be, but right now, let's talk about a really LA meal that we had. I just saw that Jay just walked in.
Dude, the door, the clutter in the background and the door slamming, that was Jay Seals, everybody. Look, he's clean shaven, haircut, he's ready to go.
Where do I go? Right here.
What are you doing? In the hot seat, bro.
Great.
Wow, look at this. Unbelievable. This guy's slinging cheese, he's acting.
Congratulations, guys. You have just got your lowest ratings yet.
So we're bringing Jay here to talk about a momentous occasion that we all shared, which is that we fucking got Dom to the San Gabriel Valley. He was not 1 day late. He was not 2 hours late. He was 40 minutes late.
And we busted our ass to get there.
It was fine. It took you an hour 20 to get to Henry's Cuisine in Alhambra.
That's
Three
right.
3 freeways.
Three
Yeah,
freeways.
three freeways.
Maybe 4.
Wait, so definitely two directions.
Only had to fill up twice.
Definitely two directions that you two are not used to going to, right?
Do you know, you want to laugh? I had to go, Dom and I have a little thing that we do, a little work we do out in Irwindale, which I would personally need to double check to see if Southwest is running a special on flights
Yeah.
to go to Irwindale. And I went to Irwindale the next day after Henry's, and I drove past Henry's.
No, you didn't.
It was like not far. Irwindale, put it this way, isn't far past.
Is that
Henry's.
right?
Yeah, that's how far away
You're
it
really
is.
learning about the GRL. Irwindale's got that motor speedway or something, right? They just got to loan you a race car the next time.
Might as well have been Arizona, but
Yeah.
It was far.
So
It was
you
far.
guys,
Hold on, we got graciously invited. This was like this is the first real invite from you.
to the San Gabriel Valley? No, you.
No, just in general to eat.
Wow.
This was a very, very, like, I was honored. And I'm like, dude, and I told him, like, bro, we're going. Andy invited us, we're going. I don't care what we have to do. And
Okay, he's exaggerating. This is the first invite. We know that this is his shtick, but okay, fine. It was a rare invite to a banquet style meal in the San Gabriel Valley. Which I do fairly often with a bunch of different industry people. I mean, this one was wild. I mean, we'll talk about who was there later, but let's talk about the experience. You show up 40 minutes late.
we did. And I'm sorry, and I hate to be late for
But
anything.
we save you knuckles of lobster with a good amount of meat. Tell me about what you ate, and then we ordered some extra things just for you guys.
Right. Okay. So yes, we had the lobster. That was like the first thing on the table. Of course, your eyes go right there, right? Like, I thought the lobster was insane. We also had
It's
that.
a Vietnamese style lobster with noodles,
That was
chilies.
I thought the lobster was
Yeah.
awesome.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular. I mean,
There were some real hits there. And also, you're talking to a
yeah.
couple of kids that
Yeah.
come from where we come from. That place checked all the right boxes
It was
for
amazing.
me. It was
amazing.
fucking awesome.
From the Lazy Susan in the middle of the
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Right.
So I'll tell you, okay, so I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna say the things that I loved, and then there was one dish that I can never escape the memory or flavor.
Okay, yeah, walk me
So
through,
much
'cause
so
wanna-
that I think he would go back
Yeah.
to East Pasadena or wherever the hell
Okay,
that
so
was.
Alhambra, but I love that you called Alhambra East Pasadena.
No, I have a dish that I cannot even
not
get.
offensive to any Chinese people in the San Gabriel Valley at all.
Is that offensive?
No. I was gonna say.
This is what our whole podcast is. Don't worry.
Listen, no. But what I was gonna,
I'm giving you immunity unless somebody tries to cancel me.
And by the way, he used one of his lifelines already. 'cause
Andrew,
he
I'm
called- he
gonna
phoned a
take
friend.
the immunity if I can. Thank
So,
you.
I'm gonna say the things that we
You're
liked,
good.
and then I'm gonna go into like the one dish that I cannot like. I
Oh,
do
yeah, I
not
wanna hear
like that I
this.
can't. Okay, so obviously, we get on the table. The first thing we see, and first of all, it's an all-star crowd already, and we're getting in, and we're 45 minutes late. We stroll up, and of course,
Do you know one of the chefs drove from the fucking South Bay? You actually have no excuse to be 40 minutes
Well,
late.
we were busy. It was
yeah,
middle
we
of the workday.
right, fair.
Let's cut us a little slack here, Andy.
But so so you're in a car for an hour, and the first thing you do is you hit the head, right? Like that's because
Well, Dom does.
Yeah.
And also before we hit the road too.
Yeah. Well, when you get to a certain age,
And once in the middle.
and you're drinking Lambrusco in
It
the
was a
middle
Snapple
of a
bottle. Okay,
Yeah.
so we head over. So as soon as we get to the table, obviously it's an all-star cast, and you can't help but notice the massive food that's in the middle. So we see this beautiful lobster, and
It was
like
5 pounds.
it was yeah. And actually, I was lucky because I actually saw it before they actually cooked it because you sent me a picture.
Yeah.
And if anything, I mean, he even stepped on it even harder, except that we were in bumper traffic.
Yeah.
That's why we got there so late. So anyway, so we start out with the lobster. It was amazing. It was everything. It was like it had the flavor of everything that we wanted, right? It's interesting too because they made it somewhat easy to open, but it was kind of hard because I still had to like put my chopstick inside the claw to like pull it out. But I did my best. The noodles, how were they?
The noodles were awesome. I mean, I
And
literally
you call them Vietnamese noodles?
Well, no, it's a Vietnamese style lobster, but they just call it that. I mean, like Newport Seafood is which we'll go to. It's sort of the one that
Sounds like another invite.
originated this idea of like Vietnamese Chinese lobster, or not originated, but like super popularized it. So this is a version of that. And it just means like it's got the chilies and the scallions, and then it's got the noodles, and then there's some roe that adds extra flavor.
I found myself going 2019 style, put my fork right in the fucking
Yeah.
dish. Like, back to when that was like appropriate still.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so that was the lobster with meeting. Then we didn't have so I'll talk about what I didn't like later, but then reordered, right? We got the pork knuckle.
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's the crispy pork.
No. That's not the fried crispy pork. That was the pork that was like
That was one where I'm like, just think of it like it's
with the duck
porchetta.
sauce. Can we say duck sauce?
Sure.
What was it? Plum sauce?
It's Sure, it's a fruity sauce with the meat, but yeah, you can come with a duck sauce adjacent.
What
sauce.
did that sauce remind you of, bro?
Duck sauce.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and when you sit down at a Chinese restaurant on the East Coast, they bring the wontons and they bring that sauce.
You know,
that's
The hot mustard, the sweet and sour, like the duck sauce.
If you just asked them for duck sauce, I'm sure they'd bring you that. So that's fine.
Duck sauce is okay.
Yeah, duck sauce is fine.
The real name for it?
No, plum sauce.
Plum. Okay.
Plum sauce.
Sure.
That duck sauce, that plum sauce was unique,
Lights out.
but also was like maybe the best I've ever had.
I agree.
It was. If they were offering baths in the back of Henry's in that sauce, I would have dove right in.
Right. But the crispy pork, I was just like,
and the crispy pork was really tender, really exceptional. No, I'm not talking about we're not talking about the pork chop yet. We're still talking about the
No, I
knuckle.
know. We're talking about the one that is like porchetta.
Yeah, and basically
That was awesome.
that was insane. The skin on it was amazing. I doused it in the sauce. I had it with the rice. That rice also too, like soft and like chewy and not like dry, like really like I don't know, just different than any rice that I had at like a regular Chinese restaurant.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
That's pretty standard rice, though.
Well, I thought it was delicious.
Okay. Hey, Henry's, you guys are really good at steaming rice.
Henry's, keep it
That's
up.
amazing.
Killed it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so then we had the pork chop, the fried pork chop, which was
This is the thing that you lost your mind about, right?
I did. Because bro, like it wasn't like I'm pretty sure it's not Berkshire pork. Like it's regular pork, but the way they did like the spices. Talk about it.
It was. Let me tell you, it wasn't what I expected, and
It
also
wasn't.
it was on the heels. It was the third pork dish that we had, and the first pork dish that we had,
Which is what we need to talk
which
about.
I know we'll circle
Oh,
back
God.
to.
Oh God.
You know, I'm just going to call that NFM for right now,
Yeah.
not for me. However, those other two pork dishes were fucking brilliant.
Lights out,
Right.
delicious.
That salt and pepper pork chop. Is what
That
you're
salt and
talking
pepper
about,
pork
yeah.
chop was unbelievable. And too, it was really tender, crispy. It had a spice, but like, you know when something's like spicy but not hot? Like it just had like, you tasted all the spice in the dish. I thought it was exceptional.
It wasn't our grandfather's Chinese food. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like slightly California-ish.
Right. So I also made you guys eat something that I knew that you probably wouldn't like. It was, the steamed pork with the salted fish that you probably thought was a little too fermented and funky. I'm right. You probably don't want to eat that again, right?
Yeah, no, it
Okay.
was not something. It was not my first choice.
So, I wanted to give you something that was an acquired taste because I just wanted to sort of like, get an idea of like poverty food, how different cultures, deal with fermentation. Like, Koreans like to use the kimchi that is basically turned for the kimchi jjigae and all that. So I'm glad that you tried it. I understand that it wasn't for you, but that's what I'm saying about a restaurant like Henry's. It has the range. If you want to go there and you just want to eat kung pao something and sweet and sour something, they have that.
Sure.
But if you grew up craving a certain type of funk, they have that too. And that's what I like about Henry's is that it's a restaurant for everybody.
It's traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like honestly, I'll try anything once.
Right.
I will try anything once. I will taste it, no doubt about it. But it's interesting because I didn't even know, I never even heard of that dish before. And I can tell you where, like I never saw that on a Chinese food menu in Staten Island.
But
No.
honestly, that was like home cooking for a lot of people
Yeah.
growing up, right? Like there's
And I
definitely
respect that. I think
all
it's,
these Chinese, but if you think about the essence of what it is, which is why I wanted to order it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pork and it's a patty. So it was literally just Chinese people arriving at the same thing that Italians and Americans arrived at. It's like, well, how do I turn this thing that I have, and make it better, because it's like all these different cuts that maybe like don't necessarily go together. Oh, well, I can make a sausage or I can make a burger patty, right? That's one of the Chinese versions.
So
of it.
basically, it's ground pork and it's made into a patty, and then they put the whatever the
Yeah.
fermented stuff on top,
yeah,
right?
essentially.
Yeah, man. It was interesting. It was, and I'm really glad I had an opportunity to try it. I did, and I was, we went in, we just got in the car for an hour. I was starving, so that
was already on the table, I think, right?
Yeah.
So,
we rocked and rolled it.
All right, so let's talk about why the salt and pepper pork chop was so good for you guys.
First of all, go ahead.
Which one? That was the
That
one.
was like the crispy.
That was the pork chop where you could grab it with your hands.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was everything I wanted it to be. Again, also not what Homemade Kitchen in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey was selling us when I was a kid, but like awesome. You know.
All right, so you guys,
and we had and there was parts of the bone, like you could eat it from the bone. It was.
Right.
I thought it was tender. It was crispy. It had a certain spicy element to it, but also like it wasn't overly spiced. It had a sweetness to it. I was
The
all
whole
in on that.
experience of that place.
Yeah.
If you remember too, it was a kind of a dreary day.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it just felt, it was the right cuisine for the right
Yeah.
day with the right company.
All Chinese families there. Like,
Yeah.
like we were.
It was very authentic.
We think we were the only Americans.
We were definitely, I mean, our table.
Yeah.
I mean, they clocked us immediately. Like, look, we have our secret weapon, who's Samantha Wan. She has her.
She did all the ordering, right?
She did all her ordering. She's a prominent PR person that helps industry only. You know, worked with Leeway, worked with Kevin Meehan, worked with a lot of prominent chefs. But her family had the Ocean Star Dim Sum Parlor in the SGV.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to this restaurant. It's not really just about like you're eating with royalty, because like Chinese people, like, they don't really care like that, right? It's just more like, this is somebody that knows how to fucking order. So, you know, I've been going to the San Gabriel Valley with her for a few years, you know, and lots of chefs, and pretty much everybody knows you just let Sam order, right? But the thing that I'll tell you is that salted pork was something that I wanted to add, because I also just like seeing how people react to certain things, and if they like it, they like it. But I mean, I'm glad that you had that experience. So you guys are down to go back to that SGV, right?
And don't forget the kung pao chicken. I know it's cliche, whatever. That was probably the best kung pao chicken I've ever had.
She ordered it for you. We did not order the first round of it, because even though most of the people at that table were not Asian, they
wouldn't order that.
They wouldn't. They probably wouldn't.
Would you say what was ordered was what everyone at that table would have ordered? Like, because I mean, like, you know, I know what I know.
We were gonna get a big lobster, and that place is famous for their pork knuckle, so we would have gotten those.
Right,
100%, right? And we ordered you a second pork knuckle, but also we were with these true like titans of meat, you know, and whenever people who like cook meat all the time, they want to eat seafood, right? So we had Milton from Domestic Barbecue there. You know, he does great food at our parties. He did wings and the Cajun rice that was at Pizza Palace. He cooks meat all the time, so of course he wants to eat a lobster. Adam Perry Lang, you know, the most legendary barbecue chef in LA, like, happened to be, I mean, this episode's going to be the most name-droppy thing that we've ever done, but we're just talking about who we ate with in the context, right? Adam drove from the South Bay. You know, he doesn't really ever need to eat meat, given what he does. You know, he has that pop-up at Gin Rummy where he comes up with new barbecue dishes all the time. But they're famous for the pork knuckle. The pork knuckle is a little bit like porchetta. I was giving you shit, but I'm like, just think of it as Chinese porchetta. So we did order 2 of those, right? And then, you know, the rest of the people we were with, like Lauren, who helps me run my parties, you know, and eats everywhere. And then Jeff Strauss, Oybar, just got into Eater 38.
Saw that.
So congratulations to him. David, who runs Elay, that Nigerian pop-up. And then the reason for this lunch was Darren Bresnitz and I wanted to reunite. And Darren, we had on this podcast, you know, he has the Snacky Tunes podcast that, you know, has filmed probably 50x as many, or has recorded 50x as many as we have. So it's just with a bunch of people who know food, who've been in the FGV. But I like that you showed up. You know, it was clearly like out of your element, because like you said, Jay, this is not the Chinese that you're used to eating, but you guys are down for more.
Dude, I mean, honestly, that to me, any memorable food experience, like, and that to me was memorable. And especially like just, you know, hanging out with those chefs and meet, you know, and just kind of shooting the shit about, you know, the industry and stuff. I thought it was amazing. But I really did enjoy every element, from even the ambiance, right? Like, what was it like when you walked into the place? You're like, dude, I felt like I was in the right spot.
I felt like I was in the back room of, you know, I don't know, a VFW or something that, you know, it was really cool.
Right.
I
So
mean,
the best restaurants, I get to say this because I'm Chinese and I can get away with it, all right? When I used to eat in New York City, like in, you know, Sunset Park, Brooklyn, you know, those areas, and obviously like in Flushing, the best places, you felt like there were 3 crimes like happening at the same time. And I mean this sincerely, meaning that there's somebody outside who's selling garments and handbags that clearly fell off some truck. There's somebody playing poker inside, and it doesn't seem like just a friendly game. We're not talking about who it was, right? And without getting into it too much, there's other things going on, people selling jewelry, and also the restaurant is cash only. That's like the most old school shit ever, right?
That's cool. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And people are ordering fucking king crabs.
Think about it now. There's places you go that they don't even accept cash. Somewhere my grandfather is rolling over in his grave
Right.
that like someone is literally telling you like, no, your cash is no good here, but do you have a credit card?
But as an Italian from Staten Island, you have to sort of recognize just how New York that is, right? Because you've been at the Italian restaurants in Staten Island, the Bronx, whatever, where it does feel like a VFW hall, and there's 3 dudes rolling dice outside and shit. And so I just basically took you to not even a real version of that in LA, but something that harkens back to this other thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's called home. I mean, I felt like that to me was like that was an authentic experience.
Yeah, no, and it's just and it feels like home cooking. So look, we're going to someplace slightly fancier next month. You guys are invited. We're going to
RSVP.
We're going to Bistro Naz. I'm with Jeremy Adler, who just opened Beethoven Market.
Yeah,
Michael Wexler,
we know Jeremy.
that great chef.
We know Michael well.
Yeah, who
Love him.
now has the Pasture Project. He's selling his own chicken and all that. So that one will be fun, and then we'll get some of the usual suspects. But okay, so for real, this is what I want to know. When you texted me 5 minutes after our reservation, saying you'd be 20 minutes late, where were you at that point?
Dude, so we tried a couple of different routes to get there, and we were like, I don't know, we were probably what I thought was 20 minutes away. We were zigzagging, and then we went to Waze, then we tried Apple Maps, and we were just kind of zigzagging all around to try and get there. But
Yeah.
You see what he's doing? He's blaming me, the driver.
Yeah. And plus, this guy's he's texting and driving. I told him not to do it. What are you gonna do?
Somebody's got to work.
So this is what I think. Look, I know you guys aren't just going to be able to figure out how they do it, but I'm telling you, some kind of salt and pepper pork chop sandwich would crush. There's other places that have done something like that.
I don't disagree with that.
Nah.
So, I mean,
Kidding me?
this
We
may
got
be
to do it
something-
like our style. Like we got to like almost like.
No, of course, because you're not gonna steal the idea beyond the fact that I like the salt and pepper pork chop. I'm just saying that could be a great fucking sandwich.
I don't disagree.
I don't
at all.
disagree with you at all. I would have a pork chop for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I could.
Yeah.
My mother's pork chop with vinegar peppers when I
Yeah,
was a
I'm
kid.
with you, man.
I would. It was like my birthday meal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Right. So Jay, you grew up in New Jersey?
I did. Yeah, right outside New York City,
Got
Bergen
it.
County.
All right. So what I really want to know is that like, which of you is more well versed in Italian American food, given where you grew up and where you grew up?
Oh, I'm gonna deflect that to you.
Oh, it's definitely Dom. I mean, for me, like I'm what they call a gavone. For me, I'm very versed in what is familiar to me.
Right.
I also, without naming names of restaurants, there's restaurants that most people are like, this isn't necessarily so much for me. But they're places I love because they're very nostalgic for me. They remind me of home, and I don't know. I'll still tell anyone that'll listen. My mother's meatballs were the best around. I mean, she's lost a few miles on her fastball now here later in life, but in the 90s, untouchable.
Because it's what you know, it's what you grew up
It's
with.
what I knew when I
But
grew
also
up.
too, like your family, like my parents came from Italy, so like your family, you're like maybe second generation or third generation. I feel like there's a little bit lost in that just because I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of my aunts and uncles, also born there, right? So like it's just a little bit different, but
Yeah, my grandfather. My grandfather was born in Jersey City because his mother moved while pregnant with him because they wanted him to be born in America. Same with Petra, my soon-to-be wife, as well. Like her mother moved to the States to have her here so that they could be born in America. My mom's mom was born here because she's the youngest of many. So and also like it's a different era for Italians. Like like our grandparents and parents' era is a different era for Italians. Like back then, people were embarrassed to be Italian. It was like they weren't allowed to speak Italian in the house, and they were forced to speak English. And I wish I would love to go back and speak to my my 4-year-old self and be like, learn how to speak Italian now.
Yeah. I mean, the Italian look. How these immigrant stories are. The Italian American experience isn't that different from the Chinese American experience, And then the way that food evolves, as you know, you just end up catering for the people around you. You do this as a means of survival. And then later generations or people who want to honor the thing that can keep it alive. So we're going to go to Bistro Naz. And then I think we should end by committing to go to one other place, which is based on what I know you guys like and what you're concerned. We should go to the Genghis Cohen before it moves.
Oh,
Mark and Matt
I love
are
the teaser.
coming in to film with us. But it's like, let's go eat LA's best version of New York style Chinese food.
You invite
too.
us, Andy. We keep showing up.
How am I gonna? Why do I need to be the one to invite you to the restaurant that's
'Cause it's
on
your party.
side of town?
No,
But it's your party, Andy.
We need the Andy experience. It's an experience.
I will say something to that point, and
Oh,
I don't know that I've ever told you this before, but you are a great gatherer of people.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you do a great job of bringing all these different people together. It's amazing. Like every time I go to
feel
one of your
like
events,
you legitimately have fun at my parties, and that makes me happy.
I do,
you know?
absolutely, and I love. Thank you for including me and us. And the fact of the matter is that I don't know, like it doesn't feel like too sales pitchy, but like everyone there, like I don't know. I mean, if you're going into an Andy industry only event and you need to get some shit done, like there's probably someone there that you're like, oh, I should talk to that guy about, rubber gloves, and I should talk to that girl about new aprons.
Right.
There's just someone for everything.
This is exactly what it is. So, to your point, the thing that I like about this gathering, right, is that, so Samantha Wan was there. Samantha, who is Li Wei Liao's publicist, but also does all this great marketing work for other people. Lauren Swaminathan was there. Lauren is a good friend of mine who helps me industry only, but also works closely with Case Tea and has helped lots of luxury brands get their products into restaurants. Jeff Strauss from Oibar's there, right? The only reason I bring this up is that the three of them are board members of a charity for wildfire relief, out of the Fire LA, 25 families that Industry Only has raised money for. And a lot of that really did remind me of, our friend Aaron Poboreskin during the wildfires helped facilitate tens of thousands of meals at the Will Rogers Base Camp. And you know who ended up donating a lot of the meals? I mean, obviously there were sponsors like In Kind, who I work with, and Open Table that helped. But the restaurants that went out of their way to do it were just our restaurants. Mm-hmm. So Genghis Cohen was there. Tacos 1986 was there. We've had Jerry Greenberg on before. Matu did cheesesteaks. Hi-Ho Cheeseburger was there. Wobo was there. Kazunori was there, right? So when you're saying that, like, yeah, these parties are great because you go to these things and you can meet your PR person and your contractor and the person who can get you the anchovies that fell off the truck maybe and all that too. But there are these other things where I'm like, well...
Our anchovies are legal, bud.
Okay, yours are. Are you sure, Dom?
Yes, they're very legal, Andy. I would never.
What about that cheese wheel that we can't talk about?
Andy, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right, cool. No, but I was at this thing where I invited a bunch of my friends and I realized, oh, look, I'm an advisor for the charity too, but I'm certainly not a board member. But I'm like, wow, you could have a board meeting for your charity right here. And that part sort of makes me feel good because the rest of the time, as you know, you guys are in your basement dungeon, you're on sales calls, you're up there doing tastings, you're in the weeds, you get to meet a lot of people, but you don't just get to break bread in the middle of the day. So I appreciate that you guys basically did a 3-hour round trip.
Oh, dude.
Worth it.
Can't wait to do it again.
Okay, all right, so Bistro Naz. We got to go to Genghis Cohen before the end of May before they move. We'll get a big group dinner together for that. What else? Where else should we go?
The cheese store, Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
we should do something. We should do something down here. I was saying we should bring in either past guests or do something fun. We're gonna do something with Voltaggio for sure, but we should do something down here. I think it'd be really cool, really cool, and just have almost like a potluck.
Maybe raffle off or sell a couple tickets and have it benefit. It doesn't even have to be the charity I spoke about, one of them, because I think that for somebody to crash this elite fortress that is a cheese store but actually get to hang out at the basement, that's one of the wilder, more exclusive things that you can do. Let's own who you are.
I love it. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks for coming to the SGV. We'll do it again another time, guys.
And extra special thanks to Jay Seals.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a really long commute.
After you do it all?
Oh, you called my agent. It was good.
Okay, cool.
Gabe cleared it. Yeah. It's good. Yeah, it was a long commute down the hall. All right, I'm going to leave you guys at it. I'm going to go back to work, but this was fun.
Get back to work.
All right, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
go back. Yeah, go back to your job running the cheese store.
back to-
Thank you so
But
much.
Andy, not to kiss your ass, though, one more time. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing with bringing people together. I think it's a really great thing, and I think our business needs it, our industry needs it, and it's nice to bring good people together. And you're a producer of and a good people hoarder, and you should keep that.
Well,
up.
there's a surplus of
like
good
this-
people in the industry.
Yeah,
man.
fuck
He's
yeah.
this gel that like literally brings.
Yeah.
And he's open. I opening my eyes to a ton of shit. I mean,
Well,
you know,
but
we're
this stuff
stuck
makes me
here,
happy.
you
The
know?
thing that's made me the happiest so far is like Holy Basil hasn't even done the podcast, but they just came by one day. They're with William from Pizzeria Say, William and Jennifer, obviously. The other day, Dom tells me, "Oh, he's bought some of our pasta."
Yeah, now he's a great pasta customer.
and
Dude,
I,
you know he's asking for a kickback. This is him asking for a kickback right now.
Andy is not
literally
asking for. He's just
a
happy
kickback.
that we're working
yeah,
with like.
5% okay.
Let me tell you something. I was super inspired not long ago by an Instagram. I get a lot of information off Instagram from my wife's Instagram. She follows all these great food things, but I was super inspired by this post that was like the 6 best pasta dishes in Los Angeles that are not Italian.
Oh yeah.
And Holy Basil, Pisa Palace, they were all on them. And
Those are our guys. This
Yeah.
is
Guys,
this
I love
podcast
it.
is
I
and the
love it.
people
I
coming.
love
It's
it.
organic, you know.
this feels a little salesy now that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is where you get
No, but
call
no,
us
I
for the
mean,
pasta.
I guess the whole tie-in is that, you know, Andy is literally bringing so many different groups of people together, and I'm speaking for myself. I would never, I don't know.
Which part of this podcast is going to be usable, Gabe?
No, but it doesn't matter. But like seriously, like when you sit around, you think about it, like there's things that I would just not. When we're here, we're working, we're 24/7, right? Like, and I don't get a lot of opportunity to leave the store, but when we do,
But
it's
the
like
people in
we want it to
Atwater
be-
Village, it's a big deal for them to come here too. You know,
Sure.
like when Doe and Joy came here from Holy Basil, it's all like he was driving to Portland to do a pop-up, and he actually just texted me like, I'm just listening to your podcast. And he's listening to the podcast, and it's opening up this whole world of what the cheese shore is to him too. And the reason that he came here is he just texted me, it's like, I want to eat sandwiches and try cheese. So it doesn't matter if it gets too salesy or not. It actually just makes people want to come here, and that makes me happy because, like I said before, this is a real place, and you have real food, so they should come here.
Sure, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so the love is mutual in that case.
Oh, nothing but love, for Andy. I love it.
Thanks, Andy.
This is great, man. Thank you, Jay, and also
Yeah.
Jay. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
No, I mean, again, thank you for interrupting your busy day, like actually like making sure that this place runs. You should probably go do that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and do that right now. That sounds like a good plan. Thanks, boss.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
See you later.